Game on.
Hey there, game gurus. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be taking a look at, well, the iiRcade here. Right now I'm in the middle of getting ready to get my basement fixed. Back in 2020, had a flood in here, which is, something just kind of happens, I guess, to people, and I was one of them. You can see the sheetrock's not on the side of the wall, so I'm finally going to have someone coming over to fix that December 5th. Right now it's literally Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. So I've been spending the past couple of days trying to get everything out of here so the guy can do the sheetrock work, and it seems like every time I take stuff out, more stuff appears. I don't know how it happens. There's just more stuff. I can't get this room cleaned out. And as I'm working on this, I had a delivery come a few minutes ago in reference to the iiRcade, and that's actually my production unit of the iiRcade control panel. I know it's already been getting out there, and I see a lot of questions about it. The one in here right now is a prototype unit, so I'm just going to go over what's inside the box, the parts that are in here, because the Legacy unit and the Gold unit do have some slight differences, and people have a lot of questions. So let's just open up the box and see what we get inside here. The first thing you're going to see, obviously, is your little packet of goodies, and we'll take a look at this in a moment. I'll put that aside, and we're going to take a look now at a couple of gel packs to keep moisture out, and then very well packed is the actual panel itself right here. And of course, what no one ever reads or looks at is the install guide. So we'll put that over here as well. I'm going to take this box and move it out of the way for a moment. Go down there. We'll take this off and this off. And my production, pre-production right here is basically the exact same thing. One of the big things that is not on here is it doesn't have the Viper switch. I'll go over here in a second in this area right here. And it doesn't have the icons that we have on this unit here. So let's just get this thing out of the bag. Like so. I'm going to actually put these back on just for a moment, just to protect my gate switchers. Like so. Or on the right side. Of course I put it on backwards. Of course I put you on backwards. Why wouldn't I put you on backwards? So put that here, put that here, and we'll put it down. I'll give you guys a quick rundown of basically what was different between these two. So if you're looking at the two, they're basically the same. The big difference is the icons that we chose to use instead of, well, I had nothing on that one up here at all, but I just put little decals saying what they were. So I just put some, little labels to mark what they were. But you can see I have the gate switcher here, but I don't have anything else over here, where on this one I do. So let's go over what's on the actual machine here. So we have actually the two spinners, the joysticks, which are removable, and we did that because some people were saying that the joystick being where it is, it might interfere with the spinner. But as people are getting it, they're realizing that they are really not in a bad spot. You can get to both of them, even with a joystick. And I know some people now are finding out that if you sideload games using the Team Encoder, Mystery Encoder board, and you put Akari Warriors on there, you can actually use the spinner here to turn your guy, joystick, and fire. So there's cool things you can still do with the board. But you can see we have icons on the new one instead. This is your power, not your power, but your menu and pause button. Low volume, high volume, player 1, audio jack for headphones, 4-way gate switch mode, 8-way gate switch mode. You have the spinner, and this will be your original computer in the iiRcade, the SBC in the iiRcade, and then the Viper. That'll be what this is used for, switching between the computers. Insert coin, player 2, and power. Now, a thing to note is, even though this has power, the machine doesn't actually turn off. It just goes in standby mode. This is basically an Android box, so it never actually shuts off. So the illuminated gate switcher, and when this gets hooked up, and the trackball, if you have it set to a color, will stay on when you turn your machine off. And that's not a fault of this. The iiRcade simply doesn't shut off power to USB when it goes in standby mode. Now, I've always had my machine on a Wemo switch. So I just tell Alexa or Google, turn off iiRcade. It shuts off, so it turns everything off. So if you want that to be the case and you're a little bothered by this, a couple things you can do is you can put this on an external power switch like a Wemo and talk to it and say shut it off. Put it on a power strip, unplug it, whatever you want to do. But you can go on Amazon and get a USB female A to male A power switch like you would kind of use with like a Raspberry Pi, but except for USB A. And you can just put a switch in, turn it on, turn it off. That's an option. So another thing that's a little bit different here is you can see on this unit here we have these screws. Forget the light in here. You've got these 3 screws here and this couple on the side. That's for adding devices like maybe the Star Wars yoke or other things, steering wheels. You can see on this one, it's just rubber. And we did that because until we actually release any hardware for it, we'd rather have it look a little nicer than have just empty screws there. So that's why these are rubber. We do release some additional hardware like steering wheels or the Star Wars mounts, things along those lines. You just pop these out. We give you the screws to put in there and you'll basically be ready to go. And you'll also see in my prototype unit here, there are no USB ports here on the front. It's actually underneath, under the underside. Where now, we have them right here on front, right here, easy access. Now I'm going to flip this thing over for one quick second, as best I can. Like so. And you can see all the technology we put in under here. Of course, we have the main wiring harness that'll go to the iiRcade, it's the GPO pins. We have the 2 joysticks, joystick 1, joystick 2 here, and these are powered gate switchers. We of course have our buttons. We have the PCB for the gate switchers, and only 1 switch is being used and 2 servos, but it can control up to 2 more. You can do a total of 4. Now down here, get a little bit lower, we have our spinner wheels. And these are optical. These aren't Hall effects. These are standard optical spinners with a wheel on it. And this is our powered hub. So if you're using things like the Sinden shotgun, you want to use this powered. Now, we include a power brick for it. I'll pull that out of the bag in a little bit. But if you just plug this into the iiRcade or the mystery encoder, team encoder board, it will power everything up and things will work. However, you risk potentially maybe damaging the iiRcade board if you're drawing too much power. So I would definitely recommend powering the port here just to make sure that device that can plug into the USB ports receive sufficient power. Now we have, in addition to the the 2 front USB ports, we also include 2 internal headers, and we also have another header here. So there's plenty of expansion on this ultimate control panel. Now on the bottom of the trackball right here, you see some dip switches. That is so you can change the color of the trackball or use no color at all. That's up to you. And then of course we have just all the standard buttons, and the Viper button is right here. It's not currently used, but we will have the Viper with another daughter board which will control all the changeover functions. So we're still offering that at an incredible price with the Viper and a PCB that'll control the sound, the video, the controllers, everything between the built-in iiRcade motherboard and ours. So that's pretty much the similarities between this, and we'll go into either one of the units, whether you have one of the 300 people that have the gold unit or the 4,500 people that have the original iiRcade. So I'm going to take out this old one right here. Now I'm going to show you real quick. I might as well to pull this thing out of the way. So you can see I have a little cable down here in my prototype, and that's how I connected it to the PCB. But if I just flip this thing over easily, without breaking nothing, you can see this was my prototype. We actually had a Bluetooth module and a small hub built in here because we originally were trying to do this all with Bluetooth, but we ended up not going that route. So let me get this thing out of the way. You can see we have all these different mounting holes on here, but these won't be needed. So let me get this thing out of the way and try and get this thing hooked up. Now, one other thing I will say is when I pulled out my computer from the iiRcade, I left the feet on here. Now once I put in my new board, I'll find where I want to put this permanently, and I'm going to screw this thing in so it doesn't move. But there's no, I know some people saying it's too exposed. It's not exposed. Once you put it where you want it, it's going to be enclosed in the shell. The only reason this was in another shell was they didn't want you going in and modifying and doing what we're doing now. You broke the seal, you couldn't get into it. So it got nothing to do with this machine being exposed. This will not be exposed. Just put the board in, find the spot where you want it to be, screw it in place to keep it safe, and that's what I'm going to do right now, so I'll be right back. Okay, before we get this thing installed, let's go over all the parts we include in the bag. And we generally include a lot of things, probably more things than you actually need, but I'd rather you guys have the options of stuff in the bag than not have what you need. So let's open up this bag here. We're going to go through all the different parts that are in this bag one at a time. I'll put this bag out of the way. So the first thing we have right here, this is a USB-A to B connector, and this is going to be going to the back of the powered hub inside here, and this gets plugged into your either your mystery encoder board, our board that goes into the legacy unit, or directly into the back of the gold unit. So that's what this is going to be for. Here is our power brick for the powered USB hub, and we do include an extender cable as well. So you have an extender cable for it. This will supply 5 volts for pretty much anything that's USB connected, including Sinden light guns. So we include that here as well. I would definitely recommend using that. Zhang and Michael said at iiRcade that the Sinden could potentially pull too much power. And again, if you use other accessories, you don't want to draw too much current if the machine is not designed for it. So definitely use this power brick. Now for the legacy owners, we have a red and black removable top. Again, the tops were made removable, so people who wanted to access these spinners feel like it's not in the way. Again, as people are getting it, they're finding out, we kind of found out that it's really not in the way, but I gave them the option for that. So these are the ball tops. Now the ball tops can also work on the legacy and the gold unit if you want, but the legacy unit did come with bat tops. So we included bat tops as well. So you have your choice of putting these on your gold unit or your legacy unit. We give you the options of having both. Sometimes people at fighting games want the bat tops. When you're playing platformers, they want the ball tops. So you can easily swap between both of them. Next thing we include here are just the grommets for these guys right here. You want to be able to not see these holes. So just grommets for your joysticks. Now this right here, if you don't have the team encoder, mystery encoder device, which gives USB ports to your legacy unit, that's what this is for. So this is not necessary if you have the team encoder, mystery encoder board, because we'll plug right into their USB port. We're fully compatible with their device. But if you don't have theirs, you would use this little guy right here to plug into the pins, and then there's your USB port you'd plug our device into. I've had a lot of people ask me about what this is for. This is a PCB that's really only used for the gold units. It's just a way to connect our device to their cable system. That's really only needed, again, if you have gold. There's only about 300 people with the gold, it's probably a little bit less. That's why not too many people know what this is for. But if you have a gold unit and you got your control panel, you would need this to connect our cable to their cable. That's what this would be for. Last but not least, we include a small wrench here to take off the spinners, if you needed to take off the spinners for any reason, and a wrench to lock in your joysticks. You can turn them by hand, but you're going to probably want to lock them in place. Don't over tighten them, because then when you want to take the joystick off, it's going to be more of a problem. Just tighten it fairly good. That's it, and then you can take it off at that point. So that's all the stuff that's included in this bag. Now again, I won't be needing all this stuff. The majority I won't need for this unit. The legacy unit, I won't need this, for instance. And I'm going to keep the ball tops, because that's what was on this unit. So these guys right here, I'm going to put in this bag. So I'm not going to need these for this project right now. But everything else here I am going to need to get it connected. Now again, also really nice manual here. So I'm going to open up the bag here. I know a lot of people don't like looking at manuals, but that's why it's here if you guys have questions. And it comes in a bag. See, everything Glenn has comes in a bag. I mean, I'm so proud. Everything's in a bag. But here is our manual right here. And it works with the standard unit, which I call Legacy, because that's the way I am. And then the gold unit itself. Now, inside the manual here, we have, even color photographs. We talk about right here, the trackball, how to set the LEDs for no LED, red, blue, green, magenta, cyan, yellow, or white. We tell you what all the icons represent over here. Again, the Viper is upcoming. We don't have that available just yet. And it shows you here how to remove the board. Now, some people left the iiRcade PCB in the actual control deck and slid it back. You can do that. I removed mine. We give you step-by-step how to go in the machine and how to take everything out. Just go through step-by-step. It's not hard to do at all. If I can get this, is there a page there? There was no page there. And we show you very. Now, the only thing I would suggest is touch something metal before you go inside here, because static electricity is something that will ruin boards. So just make sure you touch something that's metal beforehand. You can take out the PCB. We show you exactly how to connect our USB to the header if you do not have the mystery encoder on the legacy unit. Of course, the gold units, the USB is very easily accessible on the back. and we show you how to add the powered hub cable. So again, everything is done here step by step for both the Legacy unit and the Gold unit. It's only like 10 pages, so it's not hard to do at all. So you can see right here, this is where that PCB would come into play when you go into the Gold unit, how to make it connect and work with the unit. Just like so. And then when you're done, I mean, you're done. That's it. So if you're one of the 666 people, how weird is that? 666 people pre-order this. Now we only have, I mean, we have a lot less than I thought, because we had to give out to some to developers. We had to give some out to people working on the Viper, because obviously the Vipers have been going in here. We only have, very, very limited. So we're still trying to figure out how best we'll offer them, because I'm talking very limited. But if the demand is high enough, we may make more of these. And actually, I have some plans I've been talking to my team about with this board. So potentially, it will be available again. But as of right now, I'm going to say 666 people, you made a smart choice. So what I'm going to do right now is I am just going to get this connected into my machine, because, again, there's already people doing videos of that, and I've already done videos of the install process. So I'm just going to put this in this machine, and then I'll do it in my Gold unit. But again, you see the parts that are here, and there's not too much to it. So I'll be back. Okay, you can see here, this is where I mounted my board in the machine. I used 2 screws right here to hold this in place. No screws back here. Wasn't able to get to those. I probably could, but I'm not going to really do it. These 2 are enough. The mystery encoder board is here from Team Encoder. The USB host going out here will connect our board to this with our USB connector. The cables are all out of the way, so when this does go in, it will clear the switcher and everything else here, and also be clear of the host port here, but this is going to basically go right past that right there. So this is a perfect spot for me. It was just ahead of, you know, this first and then the second hole. I just turned this thing right there, so you can kind of see basically how I put mine in. And all I'm going to do right now is, well, get things connected in this machine, and that's it. The hardest part was really just finding the right spot for that, and that's where I put mine. Okay, now we have to connect the host port up and the power. These 2 ports won't be used, as well as the additional USB port here. Now, since I have the Team Encoder board in right here, all I need to do is connect my cable to that. If I did not have this here, I would use this cable right here, which is our USB connector. And you can see it right here. And it does follow a certain pin out. You can see we have the red here and black. So if this was going in here, the black would face the side here, and the red would face this side here. And that's how it would go into this connector. But since I have the encoder board in here, I don't need to use this connector right here. Put that aside. So basically the easiest way I feel to do this is, because these will get in the way I think when you're closing it, is simply to take the machine, put it in place. And I did it this way also real quick. So the reason I put this here is if I do need to get in here for any reason, I can still have access easy to this cable to remove this. Or if I have to go inside here to hit these buttons on the Team Encoder board. What I'm going to do right now before I put this in is I'm going to plug in my cable here on the side. Put this thing through from the back. And like I said, we're fully compatible with the Team Encoder board. Just got to put it in. Of course, I never know if my USB is up or down. It could be the other way. Let's see. Yep, there we go. So that's it. So I have the USB-C to add programming to the iiRcade's main machine, and then my board right there. So the next thing now is to just close this bad boy up. Now we have to access the back of the unit and just hook up. We got to hook up our power brick, and we got to hook up our USB-C cable. So let's get into that. Okay, here we are in the back of the Legacy or Classic unit. Take this power brick out of the way. There's the power brick for the machine. Doesn't need to be here right now. But we basically need to have access to here. This is going to be going into the mystery encoder cable or the GRS USB connector. So I'm just going to route this cable like so. Try and make it look semi-nice. And I'm going to put it in just like so. In the front, make sure I hold the machine so it doesn't slide out. There we go. That's in all the way. Now, the one thing we need to make sure is the power bricks have to come out through a piece of, well, the back plate, right? So this back plate, which will cover the camera, ooh, we need to make sure we're putting our cords through. So this is going to be for power for the main machine right here. So I'm also bring this through. That's our main power, like so. But we also have to have power for our board, because again, according to iiRcade, the machine is really not designed for the power draw of the Sinden technology. So I have this little extender cable right here. So I'm going to plug this right into here on this side. That'll make sure our hub gets all the power it needs. And the same thing, I'm going to route this cable out the back, just like you would have done with the power cord on the iiRcade. And pretty much that's it. Oops, lost my light. And that's pretty much it. So all you need to do now on this machine is simply close it up, and we're done. Okay, just put it back together. We can see this is operational right here. Sad thing though is I did purchase this tempered glass before they went out of business, and unfortunately it's all chipped on the side, so I'm not going to use it. That's a real shame. I mean, I could put it on backwards, but I still worry about the chips damaging something in there. So unfortunately we're sticking with the standard acrylic. That's a bummer. That would have been nice to use. But you see everything put back together. I chose right now a green trackball. The gate switch is right here, right now, in blue mode. On mine is going to be the 4-way. That's the 8-way. You can see HDMI out is also working on the machine. But now I need to put on my joysticks. I said for this machine, since it was originally ball tops, I'm going to keep the ball tops on there. So all I'm going to do is walk around the side over here and take out this little wrench that's right here. You can see all the buttons work here. If I press, let's say, volume up, see the volume goes up to maximum. Volume goes down. I can put a coin in. Well, I can't select the game yet because I haven't hooked up the joysticks. I get ahead of myself sometimes. So again, with the joysticks here, I do recommend not to over-tighten. We do have to put on our little dust covers. I mean, you don't have to, but, you know, I'm going to put them on. Like so. And we have our two joysticks right here. The red goes with the red, obviously. Now, if you want to see a full review of using like Sinden and everything else like that, I already have posted those type of videos. Now, like I said, right here, I'm just going to turn this in by hand. Not doing it super hard. I'm going to lift the dust cover up. Just get it hand tight. Then put in the wrench. Wait for the wrench to grab on the spot. And just give it a little bit more of a turn. I don't know if I grab the, oh, there it is. There we go. Just like that. I'm not going to go super tight. You know, if it does get loosened, I'll tighten it a little bit harder, but you want to make these so that they can be removed if you want to take them out or change the tops or whatever like that. They're made to be removable. We'll do the same thing right here. You can see on the top right here, there's a little spot to lock on, and we're going to put this on like so. Bring it all the way down. Then just take the wrench, put the wrench down in the slot, go a little bit tighter. Well, that's it. And we can see the joystick works right here. I'll go into a game real quick. Let's see, what game do we want to pick here? Let's go over to... let's just go to arcade. Burger time. Start that up. And we'll set the gate switcher to blue 4-way mode. Insert a coin. And player 1. Now try doing this on this side in an 8-way stick. Your guy will be all over the place. Uh-oh. Bad planning. I'll just move around the map a little bit so you can see. So again, Burger Time is pretty infamous with really getting a 4-way stick. And there's no way you can be standing this much to the side and expect the joystick to work properly with the 8-way. You can see right now I have no issues whatsoever. You little suckers. All of you? Whoa! Uh-oh, uh-oh. Dang! Okay, it doesn't make you a better game player. Alright, so this is done obviously in my regular cabinet. I'm going to set up in the gold next. Let's go take a look at that one. Real quick, just so you guys can see this, let me move the camera. So real quick, you can see, we have the trackball lit up and we have the gate switch lit up right here. The Viper one is not lit up right now, but it will be when we get the board. When I suspend the machine, because that's all it's doing, it's not really turning off. It's just suspending the machine. It keeps power on to both of these. So the only way to really turn these off if you want to is to unplug the machine or put it on a smart switch, which will turn power off to the iiRcade when it's not in use. Unfortunately, that's just the design of the iiRcade. It does not shut off power to the USB ports. But let's get on to the gold machine. Okay, I'm going to squat down here a little bit. So I'm in my upstairs room, which is extremely tight. So that's where I have the gold unit. And the only real difference in the gold unit is we will be using this little PCB. And this PCB will convert the Legacy's wiring harness, which is what we have on the GRS Ultimate iiRcade control panel, to work in the gold. Other than that, the steps are pretty much exactly the same. So I'll show you the step when we get to it. Let me get to taking this thing out. You can see this is my next prototype. It still had wording up here on all of the units, but did have the Viper button in here as well as the 4 and 8-way, and it did have the USB buttons on the front, or holes in the front, and it had the powered hub on the back. But this will be set for another project, which maybe you guys will be excited about. We'll see. So we'll leave this for another video. You can see here right now, this is the cable that originally went to your wiring harness inside your original machine, which I happen to have down over here. So you can see this board. This is the Dragon's Lair edition. Oops, which is upside down. The Dragon's Lair edition, which I do love this artwork. But on the underside, they used a converter to convert the smaller pins to larger pins on here. And you can see I've already experimented. I put my gate switcher inside here. So basically all we'll be doing is using a PCB to convert it so we can go in this machine as well. So let me get this thing out of the way. And again, it's very difficult to even walk around in here. So you can see right now, here is a interface cable. This goes back to the PCB of the gold unit in the back. And we're going to attach to this one right here, the one called J3. It's on here. And of course we have the USB plugs, which we can reuse here as well. So these USB plugs on the front, actually I gotta tilt the camera a little bit because it's not in a shot. Again, I apologize because my room here is very limited. So the good thing about this, these 2 USB ports will still be working, as well as the 2 new ones on the front, as well in the back. So you can have a lot of USB ports, more so on the gold unit here than you had in the Legacy. Okay, so we have our new panel right here. So the only thing we're going to do right now is we're just going to connect the wiring harness, and then we'll get to the back of the unit to do everything else. But basically all we're going to do is connect this PCB here to this cable, and then we can start working on the back. So it's a little more straightforward with the gold because the PCB is all the way up inside the unit. There's no moving or changing it around. So I'm going to block the camera view for a second while I get this thing going, but hold on one second. Okay, once that's done, we can just put it down, and next we'll work on the back of the unit. So let me see if I can get you guys back here, because again, it's really tight. Okay, it's very difficult to see back here. It's a bunch of wires. So I have an Ethernet cable coming down right here. This is the USB for the gold unit, so it's very easy to access. I already have a cable plugged in already right here that'll go into my board. And of course, there's power over here. You can see the cabling right here for the wiring harness, and it's just fine the way it is. I mean, it's just, you can mount it if you want, but it's really not necessary. It's not going to get in the way of anything, honestly. But if you want to, there. You can move it aside a little bit, just like that, to keep it out of the way. But you can mount it if you want. I'm not going to. So on here, there's a couple of things. This is the USB to the original gold connectors. You can see them right down. It's really hard to see what's going on over here. Right there. So this is the USB that comes in. This is so bad, guys. I'm sorry. I just don't have a better way to do this in the room that I'm in. So here's the original USB that goes to the front of the gold unit that's built in. So we're going to take this, quite honestly, and we're going to plug it into one of these ports under the hub. These are both the same. Doesn't really matter. So if I plug this in, like that, now those front two ports again are active. Now this cable here, this one is going to go to the hub to, let's see, we'll plug this in real quick. Okay, this is now going from here into the USB under here. So now all that's pretty much done. It's very easy to do. Now the next thing we simply need to do is hook up power back here. I still got the light. Just going to plug in power right there, and pretty much we're done. So it's a much easier setup on the golds. And again, apologize, but the camera angles are where they can be. I have about a foot of working room here, so hopefully you guys were able to see all that. Okay, the moment of truth. Hit the power button. Here we go. Now, fortunately, the tempered glass in this one is okay. So I have the tempered glass in this one. You can see we have our gate switcher. Blue is 4, red is 8. The Viper is over here, but of course no Viper inside yet, but that's what that's going to be for. But everything else here is all set to go. Now, the control panel, like I said, you have on the gold anyway, 2 USB ports here from me, and then below it are the 2 USB ports from the original iiRcade USB ports. Plus it's still more internally, so this has lots of future expansion possibilities. Now if you notice on the front of the control panel, little rubber spots. Again, if anything like Star Wars yoke or any of the controls, steering wheels come out, we'll include parts to add it to there and to the side. And you can see your original control deck. Well, this stuff, the original control deck. This is my old control deck, but you can possibly use this for something else, so don't throw these away. Stay tuned on that one. But my other thing I had done, now on my original control deck, I had done this. I had put in my Star Wars flight yokes in there, and gauge switchers for the flight yoke. So this one was pretty tricked out. So again, don't throw these away. You might be able to reuse them. So just stay tuned on that. Not sure when or where or what, but I would hold on to your original control panels. And on this one I did install the bat top. So that's really it. So it's not hard to do. It's actually maybe a little bit easier or less steps, I should say, on the gold units versus the legacy or the classic unit, because you do have to remove the PCB from that box, or at least relocate it. That takes a couple more steps. So I hope you guys enjoy your iiRcade GRS Ultimate control panels. Right now, you can be using the team encoder board to play some trackball and other types of games, spinner games on there. I know people have been doing that already, but we still have plans for this board in the iiRcade and potentially outside of the iiRcade. So again, stay tuned for that. But if you did like the video, even the bad camera I did in the back of the gold, you can see I got no room in here. It's yeah, even for me, it's got no room. But if you did like the video overall, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me out in the YouTube algorithms, and it would really mean a lot to me. It takes just a second for you, but it means a lot to me. And if you're not currently a subscriber, please consider subscribing. I always like to welcome new people to the channel. But outside of that, that's all I have to talk about today. So this is awesome. The iiRcade is still living, which was my goal. I didn't want the machine to die out. It's still being kept alive, and its greatest days seem to be to come. But outside of that, remember, these are just games. They're fun and all that. but it doesn't take place of family and friends. Make sure you always take a moment to wish and tell your family and friends that you love them, because tomorrow's never promised. But outside of those times, iiRcade on.
Now you're looking for that arcade experience at home, but you don't have the space for a full-size arcade in your house or endless funds, then you need the GRS iiRcade. It's arcade quality without the arcade price, from someone you can trust. The GRS iiRcade is a very simple, easy to assemble 1/6 scale arcade computer you can build yourself. You can buy interchangeable controllers for every gaming option you need to play the games the way they're meant to be played. You can also design your own artwork or purchase artwork separately to make your GRS iiRcade look like the machine of your dreams. The GRS iiRcade is also the only home system STEM certified. Come see what all the YouTube creators are raving about. GRS iiRcade.
Game on.
Sit, Blue Blue, sit. Good dog.